I've recently been on Arknights and started pushing through episodes 7 and 8. And while the game throws a lot of lore at you, what really grabbed my attention was the relationship between the two sisters, Ch'en and Talulah. But then I hit JT8-3, and if you've ever been there, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or I'm just bad at the game. But that fight gave me the perfect excuse to step back and finally do something I usually don't, which is actually reading the slideshows and doing a deeper dive on the background of the characters. Ever since I watched the anime adaptation of Arknights and started to get invested into the story of Arknights, my favorite character has been Ch'en. And it's not because I like her or anything, but naturally, it meant I was drawn to her connection with her half-sister, Talulah, and I didn't really realize how deep their story goes. Once I started digging into their history on how they grew up, what tore them apart, and how they ended up on opposite sides. So let's take a step back, before all the conflicts, before the reunion, before Rhodes Island. How one sister inherited the prestige and duty of Lungmen's bloodline, while the other was abandoned and left to be used as a tool. But what's interesting is how at their core they both want the same thing, which was to protect the infected from oppression and give them a future to live for. But the way the world treated them has shaped them into two sides of the same coin. Ch'en became a strict enforcer of law and order, embodying discipline and duty. Talulah, meanwhile, let her pain and anger guide her, leading the reunion movement's desperate uprising in a bid to protect and help people, just as Ch'en sought to protect them, but in a different way. The two sisters have the same goal, yet the paths they were forced to walk on could not have diverged further. This all connects to the actions of Wei Yanwu. His younger sister had entered into a relationship with Yanwu's close friend Edward Artorius, a royal outcast from Victoria. However, their relationship was soon discovered by Kaschi, Duke of the Ursus Empire, and was reported to Wei's younger brother, the Emperor of Yan. As a royal princess, Wei Yanwu's sister was not supposed to be involved with someone like Edward, an outcast with no political standing, making the situation not only scandalous, but potentially dangerous for the family standing in the empire. I guess Wei's younger brother had a sister complex because out of jealousy, Wei Yanwu was given two impossible choices. Either kill his close friend, or end the life of his sister and her unborn child, Talulah. In the end, Edward was gone and Talulah was left in Wei Yanwu's care. To appease the empire's elites, Wei forced his sister to marry a Yan nobleman, resulting in the birth of another child, Chen Huiche. This series of events caused his sister to resent him deeply, plunging her into a lifelong depression that ultimately led to her demise. With both Talulah and Ch'en left orphaned, Wei Yanwu became their sole guardian. If only these two sisters could have grown up together peacefully, but of course that wasn't meant to be. Kaschi, the very man who destroyed Wei Yanwu's family reputation, now sought an heir for himself. He infiltrated Lungmen and kidnapped Talulah. While Wei managed to stop his escape, it left him in another impossible predicament. His only option to prevent political disaster and protect his family at the same time was to let Kaschi go with Talulah, under the promise that she would survive. Out of concern for Lungmen and the delicate political balance, Wei made the choice to let Talulah go. Witnessing this entire ordeal was Ch'en, who was left devastated, unable to comprehend the forces that had just torn her family apart. With Talulah gone, Ch'en became the only family Wei Yanwu had left. He poured all his hopes into her. From a young age, he trained her in swordsmanship, eventually entrusting her with Qixia. As Ch'en grew older, she started to learn the full extent of what happened with her family. She began to resent her uncle, not only for his past decisions that had torn her family apart, but also for his increasingly harsh ways of treating the infected. Determined to protect Lungmen and perhaps one day reunite with her sister, Ch'en left for Victoria to continue her training, sharpening her skills. After her graduation, she returned to Lungmen and became the Special Inspection Unit Chief of the LGD and to investigate further on her past. Talulah, however, was not as fortunate. She became a tool for Kaschi, forced to carry out missions at his command. For 9 years, Kaschi raised her as his heir, grooming her to become the next deathless Black Snake. He had her study the history of the Ursus Empire, trained her in his methods, and shaped her into his agent to carry out the will of Ursus. In an attempt to outsmart Kaschi and put an end to his plans for her, Talulah deliberately contracted oropathy and becoming infected by choice. She then confronts Kaschi, ultimately killing him and finally thinking she broke free from his control. She fled the scene immediately, and she was lucky enough to be in care of 2 old couples, Ivan and his wife, who treated Talulah like a daughter alongside Alina. When patrols looking for infected threatened the village, Talulah's actions indirectly led to Ivan's death, and in anger over the prosecution of the infected, she escaped with Alina and founded the Reunion movement. Under her leadership, the Reunion grew into a powerful force, with the likes of Frostnova and Patriot. During this time, Talulah remained idealistic and forgiving. Tragedy struck when Alina was severely injured and later died in Talulah's arms, marking a turning point which made her more somber and serious. Later on, discovering villagers had starved a group of infected, horrified and enraged, Talulah slaughtered them and burned the entire village. And in her grief, Kaschi's art overtook her, fully giving control of her body to Kaschi. Talulah has now become a ruthless leader, using radical and violent methods to advance the cause of the infected. With Talulah's fire arts, she shows no hesitation in destroying anything in the Reunion's path. Despite the paths their lives took, Ch'en and Talulah share the same core goal: protecting the infected and those who they care about. But the way they pursue that goal could not be more different. Ch'en, shaped by discipline and justice, fights with order, strategy, and restraint, striving to defend Lungmen while upholding a sense of law and morality. Talulah, on the other hand, has been forged by trauma and betrayal, taking a more radical and violent path, using fear and direct action in order to reach her goals. Now that she's under Kaschi's control, things couldn't get worse. It's this mirrored ambition that makes their story so tragic. They want the same outcome, yet the world has pushed them to opposite sides. The Chernobog-Lungmen crisis became the stage where these 2 philosophies finally clash head-on. Ch'en and Rhodes Island see the Reunion as a threat to stability, order, and innocent lives, while the Reunion and Talulah, consumed by Kaschi's influence, uses destruction as the only way forward. During the incident, Ch'en and Rhodes Island find out Talulah's intention to crash Chernobog into Lungmen. In order to stop this, Rhodes Island pushes toward Chernobog's control tower to stop its collision with Lungmen. During the invasion with Amiya and Rosmontis, the shield guards of the Reunion ally themselves with Rhodes Island as they want Talulah dead. Thus, Rosmontis and the shield guards hold back the Ursus Third Army as Amiya presses on to find Talulah alone. Amiya finds Ch'en and Talulah in a fierce duel. In an attempt to pacify the 2, Amiya taps into Talulah's mind. She sees Reunion's beginnings and its lofty goals, to Alina's death and the turning point of the movement. This is when Amiya realizes the truth. Talulah has long been possessed by Kaschi, whose spirit survived within her and manipulated the Reunion into violence. Amiya then draws on Ch'en's memories to replicate and wield her Chi-Xiao herself, becoming Guard Amiya. Together with the power of friendship, they defeat Kaschi. As Kaschi tries to end Talulah's life in his last act, Amiya and Ch'en held her resist his control, forcing him out of her mind. Ch'en had achieved her goal of finally reuniting with her sister after all these years, and our lovely wife Kal'Shit comes to take Talulah into custody. To sum it all up, I feel like everything that has happened in the first 8 episodes of Arknights was all because of the separation of these 2 sisters. But seriously, if the first arc of Arknight's storyline already went this deep, unpacking family history, politics, betrayal, and the tragedies that followed, then I can only imagine how much further Act 2 will go. If this is just the beginning, then I'm beyond excited to see where the story takes us next.
行きましょう。 Sometimes I like to imagine. Face up to the sky, I can feel it now. I've been searching hard for